Hey guys, we're Ninja95, recording live from the local county prison cell. I'm very tired, so maybe, lower your expectations for this video a little bit. That being said, before I get into this fight, a little bit of backstory. A couple years ago, this is going to be happening more now that I'm just making more videos. I did a fight of, Yoruichi and Tsunade, thinking that, like, okay, well, they're the two badass women from the respective series. I thought Tsunade was the badass woman of Naruto, and Yoruichi would be the badass woman of Bleach. So I'm like, cool. And though that fight wouldn't be bad, I think that this one ultimately is a lot better. So this is, Yoruichi, same person, versus Minato, or Fourth Hokage Yellow Flash, as I knew him before I knew him as Minato, from Naruto, so Naruto's dad. I mean, there's a lot of other ways. A lot of people would have said to do Ichigo's dad, or to do, because he is a significant character, or, Kisuke or whatever. But I think for the sake of, first of all, those two characters are very ambiguous in terms of their abilities. But Yoruichi also has, the theme of, well, we've got the two speed characters, we've got the two legendary speed ninjas. I mean, I could have done something like the Raikage or Killer Bee versus Yoruichi, but nah, I feel like Minato's the way to go for this one. I mean, you've got the Yellow Flash and the Flash Goddess, so like this is definitely this is I think the fight to do for these characters. Um, let's start out with Yoruichi. So um, I mean, her backstory is kind of it's like Kisuke and everything, where it takes place hundreds of years ago, and it's very, snippets of information. We know that she was the leader of the assassination corps for a very long time. The Shinigami, sanction that was essentially ninjas, even though they're all supposed to be the inspiration for samurai, but whatever. Um, so she focused on, yeah, stealth, speed, quick kills, things that, she was leader of a special ops unit that, were when you couldn't fight someone out in the open, you went and tried to, yeah. So, and she did that for, I believe she did that for 100 years, and then just kind of went into hiding for another 100 years until that's when she met all the other characters. Um, but we later find out that after kind of getting back into practice, she developed some. First of all, her flash step. She developed some techniques. I was gonna say. Um, her flash step was still legendary compared to, what she was. To where she, like Byakuya, who's a character who's supposed to be, like top level captain, who is supposed to be equally as fast. Also one of the fastest characters. Just is completely caught off guard by her. And um, so flash step being the technique that lets you to use a sudden burst of speed that's faster than the human eye can see, and in many cases, it's almost instantaneous movement. Not quite, but almost. We have seen her move so fast that she creates multiple after images, of herself, and we've even seen them be like solid after images, not like clones where they can like punch you, but like solid after images, as in like you can touch them and then they just kind of dissipate, which is physically impossible if I'm not mistaken. But let's not get into that. Um, she's also been shown to move to have a technique where several techniques that are meant to be like anti Shinigami techniques. Also, a part of the assassination group is supposed to be, in case somebody goes rogue, they're sent out to kill them. So, she's developed techniques that counter Hado, Seto, and all of that, where she uses her, like, when a technique is utilized involving spiritual pressure, she can she can use her own spiritual pressure just to cancel it out, not even to do another technique, but just to stop them from being able to use the technique. And she also developed kind of her ace in the hole here, as it's not very assassination friendly. Um, where she shoots Reishi out of her arms and legs and her back, and the energy generated takes the form of electricity, and it ends up looking like white lightning. I think remember her referring to it as white lightning, but I'll just call it the white lightning form, where it is just a power up like rage mode, where she just incredibly increased striking power, devastatingly increased speed, and just the whole kind of package. Um, and we've seen her in this mode using special gauntlets and boots developed by Kisuke that she was able to withstand attacks from Aizen. That's his name. Shit. Like I said, I'm very tired. Um, so we know that she can withstand these like great vast amounts of spiritual pressure. These were actually anti-Reishi boots and gauntlets that she was using. I don't know if she would have those like in this fight because they were kind of like specialized, made for that fight, and they broke. So I've never seen them with them since. So, but yeah, all of this makes her an incredibly dangerous opponent, and then move on to Minato. So being Naruto, we all know the story of the basic story of Naruto, where it's the fourth Hokage sealed the Kurama fox demon inside his only son, and sacrificed himself for the sake of the village and to save his son and everything. Well, what also happened, as we found out, that before that event, he also sealed a bit of it in himself upon being resurrected by Minato. Now, here's the thing. I want to not Minato, by not after resurrection, obviously, where he's just like fucking an animated corpse. So yeah, Minato actually sealed part of Kurama in himself, which gives him a lot of other abilities. He'll be able to, because of the seal on it, be able to instantaneously teleport to wherever the seal happened to be, right? So he's literally just like vanished and appeared somewhere else. It is I believe it to be instantaneous teleportation, right? And so this gave him this legacied career as a ninja, where he was able to do all these missions, take out all these targets and everything. Also part of that would be from being mentored by Jiraiya, he was able to master the Rasengan, where, and we know what the Rasengan is, obviously. The other thing to take into account is like I said before, where he sealed, I believe it was one of of Kurama's 9 tails into himself to give him the the same chakra mode that Naruto is able to use. And this chakra mode is just, like a crazy rage mode. It is, it is pretty, like, I'd say it's probably on the same level as Naruto in terms of speed, power, and everything increase. It let Naruto fight literal gods. So compared to his normal strength, so yeah, I would say that. I mean, if it's one of the tails versus all 9, I guess it would be his 9th as powerful, but still, we know how insane of a rage mode that is. So, how do I think this fight would go? Well, right off the bat, I'm gonna say I don't think. I think these characters are physically pretty similar. In terms of ability, I feel like they're at the very least comparable in terms of speed. If there is a difference in speed, I don't think it's significant enough to have it be the determining factor in this fight. I think what is the determining factor is probably the fact that most of Minato's techniques, even though some of them are more powerful, than the ones we know Yoruichi has, have a lot of significant restrictions and drawbacks. Like for instance, the chakra mode only being able to last for a couple of minutes. Um, these two actually have pretty almost, they have counters for what the other can do, but it's the fact that all of Minato's have some sort of higher drawback than Yoruichi's do, and that itself probably would be enough. But I think it's also further magnified by the fact that Yoruichi has an outlandish experience advantage on him. Yeah, he had a career as a ninja for 25 years. She's also she also had 100-year career and had also had to fight after that, even after coming out from hiding, for another 100 years. So she has around 200 years of experience at her disposal, right? So I don't think there's much that he can do that she wouldn't be prepared for. So like, even though the Flying Raigen's faster than her Flash Step, she's gonna find out that she's gonna figure out every time he throws a kunai he teleports. So that's the thing, and that's one more advantage is that those are pretty much their two bread and butter moves. The Flying Raigen is pretty much his you know it's his calling card. Hers is her, flash step, which for even though everyone can do, it's like hers is legendary for being, faster and more precise than anyone else's. Well, he has to set up to do his flash step, or he has to do the Rasengan. He has to stand there, or he has to focus his energy to go into chakra, to go into the chakra mode. Whereas she has pretty much no restrictions on all of her techniques. But getting back to the Flying Raigen, he's known to scatter these kunai everywhere so that he can, have multiple options on where to move. Well, yeah, but once he throws the kunai, he's locked into only being able to move where the kunai are. Whereas her flash step, even though it's not as fast, because the Raijin is instantaneous, her flash step is, pretty much unrestricted in terms of how she can move with it, which just gives her all these more options against him, right? And again, eventually she's going to figure out, okay, I just have to keep track of where he's throwing these kunai. And, I don't know if she'd be able to cancel out the Rasengan, but I would assume they would interact a similar way. Chakra would interact a similar way to spiritual pressure. But even if not, I don't think she's going to need to, I don't think she's gonna have to worry about getting hit by that when it takes so long to generate. And I'm saying so long, it doesn't take minutes to generate, but you got to remember with characters this fast, every second is magnified. So she's not gonna give him the 5 seconds he needs to use the Rasengan, or she's gonna be ready to not get hit by it. And then we go into the chakra mode versus the white lightning mode. Yes, the chakra mode's probably more powerful, but the white lightning mode would let her keep up with him and survive to where the chakra mode only lasts a couple of minutes. Now, the white lightning mode isn't indefinite, but it definitely isn't as time restricted as the chakra mode. So if he doesn't kill her with that chakra mode in that couple of minutes, he's just going to lose. And I think that's what's going to happen, to be honest. I think that all of these advantages are going to catch up to him no matter how fast he runs. And, that experience advantage and just the limitations on his moves versus hers are going to be what determines this fight. I think this fight's going to go to Yoruichi. So, finally glad I got to do another fight in the last, week or two, because, well, to be honest, this just, like I said a couple of times, the weather's just been shit, and I haven't been able to, get any good lighting. I mean, this isn't even the lighting I want, but, I'll make do with what I have. Anyway, Verbal Engine 95.